Thank you for connecting early. Our main event will begin shortly. We want you to have the best experience today. So before we get started, here are a few tips. Hopefully you can hear me, but if not very well, please make sure you check the volume settings. There are two places to control the volume: your device that you are watching this live stream on, and also in the bottom right-hand corner of this screen with the World Water Day slide. You should see a chat box just to the right. Make sure you enter your name and join to connect with all the guests today. Try it out by letting us know where you are joining from. And last but not least, if you need technical support, let us know in the chat box and we will do our very best to assist you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to World Water Day. We're so pleased that so many students, teachers, partners, supporters, and virtual field trip exhibitors were able to join us to celebrate the value of water. World Water Day was established in 1993 by the United Nations as a reminder to take action on access to safe water. Later, other celebrations and other focuses joined. Currently, Drink Local, Drink Tap is focused on the International Decade for Water and Sustainable Development from 2018 to 2028. In short, we are working as a globe to ensure the human right to water is realized, and we need all hands on deck. Since 2010, Drink Local, Drink Tap has partnered with the Greater Cleveland Aquarium to celebrate World Water Day, which is always so much fun. This year, we are excited to see many, many more of you since we are virtual. Education is a large part of our mission at Drink Local, Drink Tap, and our goal with this event and our new curriculum is to support you in learning more about how you can make positive change in the world through water action. Before we start digging deep, I'd like to share a video that captures what it is that Drink Local, Drink Tap does here in Northeast Ohio and also abroad in Uganda. That will be followed by a clip from our executive director, Erin Huber-Rosen from Uganda. She traveled there earlier this year and wanted to give us a behind-the-scenes look at where the work of Drink Local, Drink Tap is happening. Let's take a look.
This is a drop of clean water, and this is the ripple effect. We are Drink Local, Drink Tap, where one person can make big waves when it comes to protecting our planet's fresh water supply, while also providing clean water to every single person on the planet. Because we did clean water. No, really, we actually dig for it. But more on that in a bit. Who exactly is DLDT? Well, we're Clevelanders. And being from the Buckeye State means we've got a Great Lake for our own backyard. Which got us thinking, aren't there some other Great Lakes in Africa? If you took our Great Lakes here in the US and combined them with Africa's Great Lakes, you'd have almost 50% of the world's unfrozen fresh water. There's no new water. What we have is what we got. So we got to take care of it. Our mission? It's simple, and best told in a circular way. First, we educate. We go into classrooms and communities to help spread the word about preserving our planet's clean water. Next, we engage. We bring people together throughout the year by hosting beach cleanups, fun runs, and all kinds of outdoor activities where we roll up our sleeves to make our water cleaner and accessible for all. Finally, we improve equity. We use the funds and awareness raised at our events to help people access clean water all around the world. For over 10 years, we've been working side by side with our Ugandan team to build safe, sustainable water sources in rural school communities, refugee settlements, and city slums. From beach cleanups to fundraising, our goal is to empower individuals, especially kids, so they're confident they can make a difference. It's not a talking point. Getting everyone involved is our high water mark. And by everyone, we mean everyone. In Uganda, local Ugandans are building our projects, not imported volunteers. Because we know the key to sustainable development is working hand in hand with communities on the ground to get water in the ground. That's one of the many reasons DLDT is so successful.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Nakasongola, Uganda. I'm Erin Huber, but I'm also known as Narakwago. That means I'm from the Nchima clan here in central Uganda, the Buganda Kingdom. I'm so glad that you could join me over here in the other Great Lakes region of the world in East Africa. Come with me. I'd love to show you around and tell you a bit about why I love being in this part of the world and why I'm so happy you could join me. I love eating fresh local food every day, hearing the sounds of the village, both humans and animals, and seeing the day-to-day routines of life. People work hard to get through each day with patience and strength. Ugandan culture is very polite, hospitable, and we take things step by step here. Pola mpola, slowly, slowly. My team and I have been working in this part of the world for over 10 years. On the surface is where extreme poverty floats daily. It may look bleak, but our story here is rich, with hope and innovation too. In the time that we've been working here, we've built 90 sustainable water projects for 30,000 people. And that's just one fun fact to celebrate.
Did you recognize Lake Erie in the first video? Any favorite activities or pastimes that include Lake Erie or other lakes or rivers near where you live? Let us know in the chat box. My favorite part about growing up near North America's Great Lakes is spending time at the beach and boating with family and friends. And how about the Great Lake in Uganda? Does anyone remember the name of it? Let's see if someone can guess it in the chat box. Lake Victoria, that's right. I hope you enjoyed seeing Erin in Uganda. It's so cool to see all the exciting action taking place. Let's see if you can hear from Erin now. Are you there?
Hello and thank you. I'm thrilled to be with all of you and to carry forward World Water Day celebrations with Drink Local, Drink Tap for the 11th year. Water access, water quality, and water equity all tie together. And if they're improved, we will have a world where more people can thrive. I have been constantly inspired by the younger leaders of today, trying to improve the world. Some continuing the work of histories, movers, and shakers, and some are forging their own paths, creating their own movements to fight climate change and address water issues and more. I'd like to introduce you to one of my heroes, Leah Namugerwa, a 17-year-old youth activist in Uganda, fighting the climate crisis, child hunger, environmental issues, and more. She's even fighting for plastic bags to be banned in the country. I met Leah after someone told me to check out what she's doing on Twitter, and after reading about her, I was so inspired and sent her a message, and we met up in Uganda. Her work started because she saw a need to improve the world around her, and in this case, one tree at a time. Here's Leah and I together in Uganda. Check out this video sharing Leah's story. I think you'll be inspired too.
Uganda government declare climate emergency.
Leah Namugerwa is leading this protest against climate change. In the Ugandan capital of Kampala, students are taking to the streets. They are part of the global movement Fridays for Future, demanding government action to curb climate change.
The reason why we protest is that we are young people and we are fighting for our future. And we protest every Friday to fight for our future and the Mother Nature. I think people of my age are coming up to protest because they know they have the biggest stake in our future and they are trying to fight for it.
When Leah Namugerwa turned 15 last year, she didn't want a cake or a party. Instead, she decided to celebrate her birthday by planting 200 trees. In August, she launched a Twitter campaign with the hashtag #BirthdayTrees, which got a lot of attention. Since then, people in Uganda have planted over 3,000 trees on their birthdays as a way of giving back to the planet.
If you're 18 years old, you can plant 18 trees. If if at all you're 30, you can plant 30 trees. For instance, if at all we do that, we keep on doing that, we can, for example, we are 42 million people in Uganda. We shall make that goal of planting 1 billion trees in 25 years.
But not many Ugandans own land that is suitable for a forest, and much of the space is used for agriculture. That is why the young activist wants the government to allow her to plant the trees in nature reserves. She has also convinced some landowners to allow her to plant trees on their private land.
If I had planted on every birthday, that would be quite a big forest by now. And if we go on doing it, every year someone plants 10 trees minimum, within 10 years, the whole forest area of Uganda will be back in shape again.
Despite some resistance, more and more students in Uganda are joining her cause. Every Friday, Leah Namgerwa leaves her boarding school to strike for climate justice, demanding government action against the global climate crisis. The campaign has gone viral on social media.
I want the government to know that this climate action is real and it's needed now. All this is taking place. So I want the government also get to see what Uganda is passing through, and they also take part of their responsibilities.
Leah Namgerwa also doesn't shy away of getting her hands dirty. She and other youth activists went to Lake Victoria, which is not far from her school. Together they collected plastic waste from its shores and encouraged locals to do the same. She also started an online campaign to force the government to ban plastic bags in Uganda.
And then we cannot just preach and tell people don't do this without practicing what we preach. And when we first started the lecture cleanups, we found a lot of rubbish because it was a market day, and everyone would just throw rubbish in the lakes. But since they started seeing us cleaning the lakes, people have now even got used to us. When they see us, they're like, we are going to clean the lake now. And they're being cooperative. They know that it's not right to throw the rubbish in the lake.
Even with some of the rubbish on the lake cleaned up, Leah Namgerwa faces huge challenges. Fortunately, she can count on her family to support her. Her father even pays for the seedlings. He's faced public criticism for his daughter's activism, but he says that he'd rather see her on the streets fighting for a good cause than staying silent when the planet needs our help.
You don't have to go on a school strike to make change or plant trees, but you can start with your very own life and become more curious about water issues, the climate crisis, your eco-footprint, and human rights. We can even begin our repairing the world by thinking about how we value water, and we can start from there. Let's think about, how do we use water? How does water affect our lives? What if our water was dirty? What if our water was gone? These questions can help us to reflect on how we can take steps in our everyday life to protect water and to ensure that everyone has this basic human need met. And as we say in Uganda, pola mpola, slowly, slowly, we can make change, and we definitely can be the change we wish to see in the world. Just think about what Leah has been doing. Let's all do what we can, no matter how small a change may seem. Maybe it's even planting one tree at a time. And I'd like to invite Christine back to join me and tell us a little bit more about why this year's World Water Day is extra special for Drink Local, Drink Tap. Christine?
Thanks, Erin. I don't know about all of you, but watching Leah's story really got me thinking about how seemingly small changes can make a really big difference. For example, one thing that I always try to do is turn off the water while I'm brushing my teeth. This is very small, but over time adds up to a big change. Can you think of something small that helps conserve water? Let us know in the chat box. And yes, this year is an extra special World Water Day for our team. We have been working very hard on a new curriculum to support students like you and your teachers, and it's ready and available. We're very excited. This year's World Water Day theme is the value of water. We're going to talk about the value of water and our curriculum topics. Our 3 World Water Day topics for discussing the value of water are exploring our eco-footprint, clean water as a human right, and climate change in water. We will discuss each topic, and Erin and I will be asking all of you some questions. Please use the chat box to tell us your name, your grade, and your school, and you can ask questions and give us answers. Sound good? Let's go. Our first topic in discussing the value of water is our eco-footprint. What is an eco or ecological footprint, you ask? This is a measure of the demand on and the supply of nature. We all have an eco-footprint, and part of that is our water footprint. Our water footprint is a measure of how much water our lifestyles demand. Everything we eat, wear, and use has an impact on the environment and requires water, from how it was made or grown, how it was shipped, and how it was used. Everything we buy, use, and throw away took water to process and transport. We can take responsibility for our impact by reducing what we use and waste, and by making thoughtful purchases and making different choices in our everyday lives.
Did you know that your diet is one of the largest factors in your water footprint? It takes a lot of water to grow, process, and transport food. To save water, we can eat lower on the food chain, eat more plants, eat more whole foods, and we shouldn't waste food. If we buy food from local farmers, we can even reduce the transportation and packaging, and even eat healthier. And teachers, you can learn more about this in our herbivore versus omnivore lesson in our new curriculum. Eating local food and eating more plants and less animal products drastically reduces the impacts of our daily lives on the environment and reduces our impact on climate change.
Hey everybody, it's Erin and I'm in Uganda. I wanted to take a short video for you today and talk about eating local food, eating more plants, and kind of what it's like to be eating here in Uganda. We eat very similar food almost every day, and the growing season is year-round for some food, but not all. Most of the food, unless you're in the city, is very close to your home, if not at your home. I am at my friend's house right now, and what you see here is matoke, which is a type of banana or plantain that we mash and we eat every day. Kind of like mashed potatoes, but it's yellow. We also have some pumpkin growing here. So fresh pumpkin, we steam that, eat it with our meals. We also have an avocado tree here, fresh avocados year-round, all the guacamole you want, and many more things growing in this garden. What's also interesting is that when you eat fresh and local food, a lot of it doesn't sometimes need to be refrigerated, right? In the United States, we are tied to our refrigerators for saving our food forever and ever. And I remember one of my first times coming to Uganda, and a priest I was working with asked me, does everyone in the US have a refrigerator? And I said, oh, of course we do. He said, oh, you don't eat fresh local food every day. And it really made me think, why don't we? We're so used to going to the grocery store and buying a million things. Imagine those items have come from Mexico, South America, Brazil, you know, places all over the globe, packaged items coming from China and India and other places. All of that stuff is not fresh. So right here, as we're eating local food in Uganda, we eat fresh food every single day, and it's delicious and much more healthy for us and the environment. Even eggs and things like that, they're all coming from local chickens. So one thing that we can do is eat more local, but two, if we eat more plants, plants are much less impactful on the environment in negative ways. So when we eat more plants and we eat less animal products, we're actually reducing our impact to the environment and reducing our impact on climate change. So I encourage you, next time you go to the grocery store, to think about maybe buying only local food. See if they have it. If they don't, find out where your local farmer's market is, or your local urban farm or garden. Or maybe you can even have the luxury and fun of starting your own at home. And the next challenge I would have you think about, see if you can go one day a week with your family and just eat plant-based food. Don't eat any animal products. See if you can do it. It greatly reduces your impact on the environment and water. Just 1 pound of hamburger uses 3,600 gallons of water to make. So imagine you can go one day without animal products and really save a ton of water.
Thanks, Erin, for sharing all that from Uganda. I know we're going to be implementing Meatless Mondays at our house. And it's amazing that so many people in Uganda have access to fresh local food. In fact, their markets usually look very differently than ours as well. Our grocery stores are often large warehouses filled with aisle after aisle of packaged food. And this packaging is often made of plastic and definitely contributes to our eco footprint. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could reduce our eco footprint by buying more fresh foods? And a good way to do that is to support your local farmers, especially in the summer when everything is growing, and during harvest, we can go to our local farmers markets, and that's a great way to support our local farmers and to eat locally. One thing I want to address, if you do not have access to our chat today, we would still love to hear your questions and statements. So please, you can write those down and send them to us after the event if you don't have access to the chat today.
All right, everybody, it's time for some questions. And hi, Christine.
Hello there.
Let us know in let us know in the chat box, what local food do you have where you live? Do you see gardens in your neighborhood? Christine, do you have any gardens in your neighborhood?
We do have gardens in our neighborhood, and a garden that I'm hopefully going to have looking a lot better this year in my own yard.
I understand that. I rent a couple plots. I live in the city of Cleveland, and I rent plots at an urban garden. I love experimenting, but my favorite, easiest thing to grow is garlic. It's so much fun. I'm also seeing some activity in the chat box from Adam Joseph. Apples are his favorite local food, strawberries. Miss Mullins, fresh apples here in Ohio in the fall. Apple picking is so much fun. Community gardens in Cleveland Heights. And Katie's mom is a master gardener. That must be fun. Summer tomatoes. Maple syrup. Yes. I'm seeing a big Cleveland crew here. Local honey. Yes. You all are making me very hungry and ready for summer. I'm assuming many people chatting are Cleveland people right now. All right. What about, let me ask another question. What do you personally eat every day? Is it in a package? Is it fresh? Is it made from plants or animals? And don't be shy. Christine, what about you? What's something that you eat every day?
I'd have to say banana. My breakfast usually starts out with a banana, which is not local, but is not an animal product. And I think it changes season by season. So trying to buy locally is very different here, obviously, than it is in Uganda, where things can be grown most of the year. So eating locally here often means root vegetables in the fall and spring greens and things like that. So it's a change in your diet, which is always welcome in my mind.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I eat or drink every day is some type of non-dairy milk, which comes in a package. So I need to figure that one out and deal with less packaging. Mrs. Nagy is saying most of our food is packaged. Yeah. I'm hearing eggs. Oh, go to Mandel School. They just got growing towers in their classrooms. If you haven't visited the virtual booths yet today, you should check theirs out. They're growing food in their classrooms. Some people eat a combination of packaged and fresh food. Access can be tricky sometimes. It's hard to not eat in packages when we've been used to it for such a long time, or at least in our lifetime. But if we think about our grandparents and everything, they weren't eating in plastic packaging. Plastic is very new, so it's interesting that we are so connected to it in our daily life. Let's see. Oh yeah. What about how do you think what you eat every day impacts the environment? Hmm. Christine, do you think about that ever?
Absolutely. We know that eating animal products uses a lot more water. So when I do consume animal products, I have to think about that and consider it. And like so many of the comments in the chat box, that our food packaging is really quite a lot, and is often the plastic. So that's a big part of our eco footprint and contributing to the continuation of the problems that we're seeing. So trying to figure out ways where you can either buy in larger quantities, buying small little portions of things, that definitely creates more packaging and more waste. So even something as simple as buying in larger quantities can help reduce that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even pre-COVID, we were bringing our reusable glass ball jars to the bulk sections at the grocery stores and filling up with oatmeal and nuts and rice and other things. So hopefully, as we get through this really terrible pandemic, we can start to do some of those things again. Seeing a couple more chat things in the chat box. One of Miss Mullen's students just told her that he feels like the carrots at the farmer's market taste better than the grocery store ones. I totally agree.
I
And
agree.
I think it's so fun to buy them with the green tops and really see the whole carrot as it's grown. Um, yeah, if we eat a lot of packaged food, if we recycle and compost, does that help? Sure, of course, composting helps. I compost here at my house, but also if you live in Cleveland, or you can check out services where you live in Cleveland, we have Rust Belt Riders that will actually come to your house and pick up your wasted food and turn it into soil, which is really cool. Um, if we eat a lot of packaged food, if we recycle. Okay, yeah. So it's true. Kim Favor is saying if our food is packaged in plastic and then needs to be transported by truck or airplane, that also impacts the environment. So there's a whole long line of impact, not just the water that you use to grow the food or the end packaging. It's all that transportation too.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is a good one, Christine. What is one single action you can take to lessen your impact?
Yes, and there's so many that we can choose from. I know Anna, a fourth grader, said that an action that you can take is to not use plastic straws and plastic bottles. And that's a huge one that we can all make a small little difference, like we talked about, that ends up making a big change. And Connor, who's also in the fourth grade, said one thing I can do is to not take long showers so I don't waste a lot of clean water. And that's a great way to think about it, whether it's when you take a shower or you brush your teeth, or if you're just running water while you're doing dishes and things. That's definitely a good way to think about a small change you can make that'll have a big impact.
I love it. All right. Oh, Miss Mullins has one more thing to say. Some of her students said that they use reusable Ziploc bags so that if they are eating some packaged foods, at least they can put them in reusable Ziploc bags. That's a wonderful, wonderful idea. Love it. All right. Well, Christine and I have 2 calls to action that directly support limiting your eco footprint. Okay, so here are 2 things that we're going to challenge you to do. 1, try to shop at your grocery store or urban or rural garden and cook 1 meal with local food every week. So you were talking about strawberries and greens and green beans and apples and all these things. See if you can have 1 meal that's all local food each week, or just try it once. The second challenge would be to try and have a plant-based, aka eat only plants, a plant-based day every week with your family. Like Christine said, Meatless Mondays are very popular, and it's a great way to start the week healthy. So we have to take care of our precious water supplies and use water wisely, but we also have to make sure that people access clean water, right? Without valuing clean water and making sure that everyone has it, we really can't have a healthy world. So before we move on, are there any questions about your eco footprint or the action steps that we shared? Christine, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but again, if you do, you can put them in the chat or you can send them to us afterwards if you don't have access to the chat, and we would be happy to talk with you about them after the event.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that chat box. So, did you know that clean water is a basic human right? Let's learn more about our second topic today with Christine.
Through our local and global actions, we can help ensure all people have access to clean water as a human right. We all need clean water. It's a basic necessity for life. But there are 2.1 billion people who don't have access to safe water. Our goal at Drink Local, Drink Tap is to inspire people to value and protect water and to ensure that we can help underserved people access clean water. Did you know that clean water and sanitation was declared a human right in July of 2010? That means the world decided that clean water and sanitation are basic needs that every human should have met. According to the United Nations, human rights are rights we all have simply because we exist as human beings. They are not granted to us by any state or country. These universal rights apply to all humans, regardless of where someone is born, what religion they practice, what age, gender, or ethnicity.
The barriers to accessing clean water and sanitation vary across the world, but there is a common thread. Water and sanitation are sometimes not affordable, accessible, or safe. And at DLDT, we work to improve water and sanitation equity. This means advocating, speaking up on behalf of underserved people, so that we can ensure everyone has access to safe and affordable water and toilets. In Uganda, without access to water or toilets, sanitation, many rural children miss out on school. Without access to safe water or sanitation, many people get sick. Did you know that half of the world's hospital beds are filled with those people who have become sick from drinking dirty water? And in developed countries, even some people cannot afford clean water, and people have to choose between paying for heat, gas, rent, or their water bills. I'm talking about water and toilets because they go hand in hand. When creating a healthy home, a community, or school, you need both. Having both of these things creates basic hygiene and health that everyone deserves. Did you know that 4.5 billion people around the globe don't have access to a safe and clean place to poop? 4.5 billion. That's over half of the planet. But you can do something to help.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm the director and founder of Drink Local, Drink Tap. I'm here in Uganda. I want to wish you a happy World Water Day on March 22nd. Every year we celebrate this day, one, to raise awareness about water issues, but also to encourage people to get active in solving our water issues. And I'm here in Nakasongola, Uganda, one of the many districts that Drink Local, Drink Tap works in. And I'm standing at a dam. This dam is basically rainwater that comes into this pit, and it's shared by people, as you see behind me, and animals. This is a cattle keeping corridor. It's very dry. Everything has been burnt down. You see cacti everywhere, and it's very dusty and dry. So this hole that we're standing in can be full up to the top sometimes during rainy season, but in the middle of dry season right now, it's almost over. It's almost finished, the water there. So what I'm asking of you today on World Water Day is to think about what you can do to help improve water security for people everywhere in the world. This not only means taking care of the water where you live, but also helping other people access clean water. This water is not clean. It's people, animals, everything from the rain, everything from the surrounding area coming here. We can solve this problem of water security by building boreholes, deep wells, by building water systems here in Nakasongola. And so I encourage you to go to drinklocaldrinktap.org and help support our most recent, most urgent project in need of funding so that we can build sustainable, clean water sources for people who need it most.
Wow, I remember taking that video just a few short days ago and talking to my team in Uganda. That water source is now even dry. Um, Before we get to the questions, someone was asking, and I was about to respond. A student asked, why do we have to pay for water if it's a human right? Shouldn't it be free? That is a really wonderful question. And I think every country in the world has very different answers to that question. Some countries, specifically in Europe, water is free, but it does cost money, a lot of money, to maintain old piping systems and infrastructure like we have in Cleveland and the Midwest in the US. And so, especially as our water becomes dirtier and more scarce worldwide, collecting that water, cleaning that water, and delivering that water does cost money. What we do at Drink Local, Drink Tap is we advocate for people to actually be able to have affordable water. So some of us can afford different water than others can. And so we want to make sure that water is priced in a way that those who can afford pay, and those who can't also get the same delivery of clean water that they deserve. So we're working towards that.
I think a good thing to point out as well is that, that our water is cleaned before it's brought to us. So another reason why it costs money is not only access to it, but making sure that the water that we're getting is clean and safe for everyone. And that requires infrastructure, and it requires people working, and all of that requires money. So there's a lot of different reasons as to why we do have to pay for water. But like Erin said, everyone should be able to pay what they're able to, and everyone needs to still have access to it.
Exactly, Christine. And we'd love to hear more of your ideas on this in the chat box. It's really a conversation without any single answer. No one in the world really has a straight answer for this question, so it's a great conversation. So what are some of the barriers to clean water? Christine, do you have any thoughts on some of the barriers? We just talked about one, but maybe you could talk about others, some of the barriers to accessing clean water.
Sure, I think barriers depend on where you live. and what your environment is like. So people who live in very dry regions will have different barriers to overcome than those who live in flooded areas where they're getting too much water. So different problems present different barriers that require different solutions. So it really is important that people across the world collaborate to solve these issues and to eliminate the barriers so that we can provide the right answers to the right questions.
I agree. I agree. Looking in the chat box, this is a great conversation. The reason it costs money for people to get clean water is because it takes money it costs money to take care of the pipes and to pipe it to your house, and there is lack of funding. And so this is also a great lesson in, as we all get to the point of being voting age at some point in our life, to make sure that you're bringing up this affordable, equitable water issue to politicians. And you can even do that as a young person and bring this concern to your community in the city you live in and say, I want to make sure that everyone has access to clean water where I live. How can I help make that happen? Because even in the United States, 2 million people don't have access to running water. And so this is not a unique problem to Uganda. It's a problem to the whole world. It just looks different wherever we go. Our next question is, why should we care about toilets and clean water? Why do you think, Christine?
Well, I think we need to understand that toilets are part of having basic hygiene. They use water, and we all need a place to go that isn't going to contaminate the water that we're going to use for our drinking or growing our food and things like that. Most people don't think about that. It seems two different subjects when really it's not. Getting access to water and also having basic hygiene go hand in hand when we're talking about that human right. And we have some comments, it looks like, coming in the chat box. But we have Elise, who is joining us from Lakewood Catholic Academy, that said, I think we should care because we're lucky to have clean water and that not all people have access to clean water and sanitation. And she's right. We need to care because we might, but not everyone. Everyone doesn't have access the way we all think we do.
It's so true. Someone was also talking about a 20-minute shower, and jokingly, I asked, what in the world are you washing? But try to reduce those your water usage. If we want to take care of our water, one is not polluting it, but two is also using it wisely. And if you were able to visit the booth during the virtual fair from Moen today, you would see a really cool video. Sometimes technology can even help us in conserving water, and not just turning the water off, but also using technology to remind us to turn the water off. Let's move on to the next question. Do you believe clean water and sanitation should be human rights? Tell us why.
So Madeline in the 4th grade said, clean water is a human right because you would not be able to wash your hands and then get germs and bacteria off of them, which right now is so important when we're talking about what's going on with COVID and the pandemic and how all of our lives have changed so much in the last year. If you didn't have access to clean water and sanitation, that's how so many of those germs and bacteria spread and cause people to be sick. So that is a great comment, Madeline. Thank you for sharing that. Chase said it's important because we could get sick and the world would have more diseases. And that's right. That's what we're seeing now.
Yeah. And I see some more questions in the chat box. I will go ahead and chat in there. But while I'm in there chatting, I would love to share a video with you from Uganda, from Mbale Primary School. And my 8-year-old friend, Aaron, he wanted to show us his latrine, and he's asking for your help.
Yes, what is your name?
My name's Duke Aaron.
Aaron, which class are you?
I am in primary 3.
Primary 3. Which school?
Mbale SDA Primary School.
Aaron, where do you ease yourself from?
In this toilet.
Oh, how do you feel?
I feel bad because it's going to fall down.
Oh my God. Okay, show us. Show us the toilet.
So, Aaron, though, was very excited, but also a little sad to show me his latrine. But I told him that we're going to work on helping him and his classmates. And so we've made it really easy to help Aaron's school get clean water and toilets this year so that they can be safe and healthy. If you're able, check out the link in the chat box, and you can choose to even start a fundraising page of your own or just donate directly to help Aaron's school. And if we raise the money that we need fast enough, we might be able to build everything by June. Are there any questions about water as a human right or the action steps that we shared? If you don't have any right now, you can always send them to us later. Yes, sorry.
Nope, that's just what I was going to say. We have stuff coming in the chat box, and you can certainly send us any questions or comments later, and we'd be happy to speak with you as well.
So as we get to our last topic, I want to say how I'm loving your energy and the questions and comments today. Our last topic is a very important one and a big one: climate change and water. Climate change expresses itself through water. Let's explore that with Christine.
Climate change is a topic that is now at the forefront of everything. We know that around the globe, our climate is drastically changing, and it's affecting every living creature on the planet. As Aaron said, we see the side effects of climate change through water, whether it's melting ice caps causing the oceans to rise and coral to die, or hotter, longer droughts and fires like in Australia and California, or large-scale flooding. We see that too much or too little water is the most obvious sign of our climate changing. Because we know that water is key to life on Earth, we need to better understand what the changes to our climate mean for our water. We need to understand how it will be experienced differently around the world. We may not think that things have changed too drastically near you, but many have been seeing these changes, and it greatly affects their lives.
Firsthand in East Africa and equatorial regions, I've seen climate change causing people to migrate and become climate refugees. When there is no rain or there's flooding, people cannot grow food. And if they cannot grow food, they can't stay where they are because they can't feed their families. They must find refuge or a home somewhere else. I see flooding and expansion of the second largest freshwater lake in the world, Lake Victoria, and I see people angry at the causes of the climate crisis. Us in the developed countries are the biggest contributors to the problems. That also means that we are the ones who have to act. In 2017 alone, 68.5 million people were displaced by the climate crisis, much of this linked to unnormal floods and droughts. Wow, this is a pretty serious topic, and I think the biggest issue of our lifetime. Let's engage in the chat box and talk about this. What do you think are some of the connections between climate change and water issues? And I'd add to that, Have you seen any of these issues firsthand? What about you, Christine?
Well, I think we can talk about a lot more precipitation that we've been seeing even here in Northeast Ohio, where we have a lot more rain coming at one time than we usually see. It causes erosion around Lake Erie and our rivers. And because it comes so much, so fast, all at once, instead of the kind of storms that we used to see where we would have rain that was soft and gentle for maybe a whole day, we see these huge downpours. It changes the way water affects the land. It changes the way we use water for growing. And we can see those changes right here in our own backyard, but many people are seeing them on even a bigger scale in different areas.
So let's see what we have going on in the chat box here. Oh yeah, the seasons have been crazy. The storm that just took place in Texas, yes, my family lives down there. It was crazy to see my nieces and nephews playing in the snow in Houston. Climate change can affect, Adam says, climate change can affect animals by making them migrate to other parts of the globe. Yes, we are seeing this everywhere. And many changes in biodiversity and extinctions happening as well. If water gets too hot or cold, we won't be able to use it. The swings in temperatures I've noticed. And what about the crazy winter storms again in the south? Yeah. Using solar power can be helpful to reduce our climate change impact. Kim Favor said, a 6th grade student said, the lakes are getting warmer and killing the plant and animal life on the water. It's so true. And flooding issues, I'd like to even bring up, wildfires in California and Australia and some other things. Really, we're seeing a lot happening at once, and you're not the only one if you feel like it's a lot to think about, because I don't think any one of us can really comprehend everything happening right now related to the climate crisis. But I think people like Leah that you met earlier, I think can really inspire the rest of us to start taking some action, no matter how small it is, to try and adapt and become more resilient to what's happening. Do we have any other comments from students, Christine?
Well, our next question is, what effects do these issues have on humans and the earth, which we've started to talk about a little bit. And Ava, who is a 4th grader, said, climate change affects humans and our planet by melting glaciers, which can flood cities and towns, which is definitely correct. So we might not see that glacier actually melting, but if you live on a coastal city or a coastal town, you'll notice that the ocean is getting closer and closer to you. And that will definitely affect the people who are living there. It can affect the people who grow food there. So we're going to continue to see how this affects us. And we really need to try and best be prepared. It looks like these situations are not going to be stopped tomorrow. So we need to think about, how do we best adapt? Lucy said the effect could cause animals, for example, the polar bears, to die, which is another great example talking about animals needing to migrate, and that some animals can't migrate though. They live in a particular environment, and if that environment is affected, they're affected and we can't do much to change it. So there are definitely some real problems that if we don't find some solutions, we might not be able to make adaptations for.
Christine, I think let's show a quick video from Lake Victoria in Uganda to help explain some of this too.
That sounds great.
Hey everybody, it's Erin, and right behind me you'll see Lake Victoria. It's the 2nd largest freshwater lake in the entire world. So it's quite a rich resource that people in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania are very lucky to have. It's also where the River Nile begins. One interesting thing that I have seen working in and living in both Great Lakes regions of the world and North America, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and here in East Africa, the other Great Lakes region of the world, there are stark differences in how people are able to access clean water. Behind me, you'll see a house that over the last 2 years I've watched go underwater slowly. This has happened because of a combination of reasons, one being the climate crisis and climate issues. So in Uganda, we are seeing unpredictable rainy seasons, meaning when the rain comes, it's too much too fast and causes flooding and the lake levels to rise. But also we're seeing too little in areas of Uganda where people are facing severe drought. In addition, when rain patterns change in places like this where people rely on their own farming in the villages to sustain their families every day with the food that they need, when people are unable to farm in areas like this, famine comes, people are not able to survive. Many people I know, especially where I've been working most recently in Nakasongola, they have to choose which meal they are going to cook each day. And that meal is typically lunch, and after fetching firewood, which there is very little of, they are able to cook this one meal a day, which is typically made of corn flour, only basic food. So climate change is causing too much water in certain areas and causing lake levels to rise like this, but also too little in many areas. And when we have too much water in certain areas, that water, when it comes down in volumes and comes down too quickly, it carries everything on land with it, which creates too dirty of water. So it actually pollutes the water. So in order to do something about this, we can think about, one, how our actions impact the climate every day, but also how we can influence our policymakers and the businesses that we support in how they are producing the goods that we consume and how they're making the rules for the places that we live and work in. And so one thing that I want to ask of you this World Water Day is to think about how you can have a better footprint and maybe consume less and consume better. Become a conscious consumer. That means buying maybe only what you need. And when you buy, think about borrowing, think about buying used, think about trading something with someone, or think about doing more research instead of buying on an impulse just because you like something. Think about where that something is coming from. Are people treated well during the process of making that thing? What materials needed to go into that? Was it fossil fuels, a huge driver of climate change? If you're buying single-use plastic items, things like that, the likelihood of it being unsustainable is there. So please, take 5 seconds, 10 seconds before you buy anything with the next dollar that you spend and think about where that thing is coming from, who it's affecting, and how maybe you can make a better choice.
All right, everybody. I know this is heavy stuff, but we can do something about the climate crisis. I have 3 suggested actions for you to consider. 1, I challenge you to stop before you buy anything and ask yourself 4 questions. Can I borrow this item from someone? Can I buy this used? Do I need or just want this item? And where did this item come from and how was it made? After you ask yourself these questions, you will be on your way to consume less. Okay, your second challenge would again be to eat less animal products, especially beef. And third, to plant trees, plant trees, plant trees. And before we wrap up our final curriculum topic, if you have any other questions, please post them in the chat box.
All right, thank you, Erin. I know I definitely plan to commit to planting more trees, and I'm already asking myself about things that I can buy. Can I borrow this from someone, or can I get it used? On Facebook, there's Marketplace where you can shop for all sorts of used things. And I know that that's a great way for us to use less and to have a great impact. So now I have a treat for our educators. Today is a very special day because we're going to launch our new WaveMaker curriculum. And this curriculum is an encompassing view of water and our impact on the environment. We have videos, virtual teaching options, student pages, fact sheets, all kinds of things for you guys. And those, the curriculum, the 3 topics are 3 topics from today: eco footprint, clean water as a human right, and climate change in water. And you can access these on our website at www.drinklocaldrinktap.org. First, you'll go to our educator tab. That's the second tab on the navigation bar. You can see where that arrow is pointing. Next, you'll look for the WaveMaker curriculum tab and click Explore Curriculum. From there, you'll see our 3 units, our curriculum units, and you can start making waves. And as always, you can invite us into your classroom, join us at future events, and together we can start making waves for change. I'm going to invite Erin to share her closing remarks, but I wanted to remind all of you, if you did not have an opportunity to visit the virtual field trips today, they will be open until 3 o'clock. So please make sure you have an opportunity to visit those. You can scroll down, the link will be in our chat box, and you should have received that as well. So please take the time to do that. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you to the Greater Cleveland Aquarium, Sustainable Cleveland, Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District, Alliance for the Great Lakes, Beverly Hills Community Farm, Cleveland Metro Parks, Mendel Jewish Day School, Moen, West Creek Conservancy, and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Your virtual booths today were so fun, and I hope everyone gets a chance to visit them. Students, I hope to see you online as you share your actions on social media using the hashtag #WAVES4CHANGE, or to help Erin's school get the clean water and toilets they need by starting your fundraiser today. And to say goodbye for now, the students from Mbale Primary School wanted to share their gratitude for considering to help them get the toilets and clean water they need. Happy World Water Day. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Because of you, we shall have clean water.